my mind coach, and with me I have Simon. Simon is the strength and condition coach on SBG Ireland, the home of Conor McGregor. And the reason why Simon is here was because I train here on the gym, and when I was passing by his area where he's doing this the strength and conditioning coaching, I always saw that he was taking a little bit more time to speak with the clients. It was not about doing, hey, let's do 10, 20 push-ups, but was to build the mind, give some advice and some tips. Also, in his own personal Facebook page and personal business page, he will have some advices and will tell the story of his life. And that's the thing. It's in life we are in places we don't want to be sometimes, and our mind kind of plays tricks and we don't know how to get out from there. So the idea is by this and others and the way they did, we all learn a little bit and be able to change our lives. So my understanding was around 10 years ago, you will be on a high paid job, technician, and suddenly there was a day that you just decide, you know what, I go for fitness training. How did it happen?
Well, I've been working in an industry in pharmaceuticals. I'd moved from a technical job before that, and I've been doing it for nearly 5 years, so I was 25, 26 years of age. And I was doing shift work, which was changing from days to nights. And I was finding I was getting very isolated in my life, that the only people I tended to interact with was work colleagues. And after I finished work, that was it. There was nothing after that. So what happened was, I went home one night and I was very unhappy. And I realised I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore. So I needed to take some time out to really think deeply. It was the first time I probably did it in my whole life, where I sat down and thought, what do I really want from my life? Where do I want to go? What I'm doing isn't making me happy. It isn't completing me. So I need to think really deeply about what I'll wake up every day and dedicate myself to. So I sat down with some family members, some close family members, and we discussed these things. And they said, well, what's your interests? What's your passions? You know, what do you like doing? And I thought about it, and I said, well, I like exercise, I like fitness, and I've kind of left that, I've gone away from it. I'd like to go back to it because it helps me relax my mind a lot. So as a teenager, I was a pretty okay football player, and it gave me a lot of good releases in terms of stress. But I'd stopped playing football with my job, so I had no outlet. So I said, well, maybe I'd like to become a gym trainer or something like that, because I'm too far gone in the States to play football anymore, where I haven't played for 4 or 5 years, and it'd take me quite a long time to get to a decent level again. So maybe I'd do a fitness course of some kind. So I started looking up fitness courses and seeing what was the best ones I could find, because I was clueless, I didn't know where to go. And I found one in National Training Centre in Dorset Street, which was a quick course, it was 6 months, and I decided to go do that.
Okay, and what was the driving force? Like, what was the why?
Well, I wanted to do something that I was going to wake up every day and say, I want to do this.
Okay.
And what encouraged me was that most athletes tend to finish their career in their 30s. They get to a point where they're at their best and then they deteriorate. And for me, I thought about it and I thought, well, if I become a good trainer or a good coach, I'll spend every day getting better. You know, I'll learn more every single day I work at it. So it encouraged me that there was the potential for a long career if I really got into it. But again, I was very unsure how I was going to do it, but I knew I wanted to do it. You know. So as I said, once I started, I said I'm going to do my best every single day to learn something that will make me better.
Okay. On this journey, there were anyone that helped you? There were any superheroes? You know, in Portugal we have like a saying that we can. I don't know in Ireland if you have the saying that is, tell me who are your friends, and I tell you who you are.
Yes.
Basically, the friends around are really important.
Okay.
So who are your superheroes in life?
In life, I have several superheroes, if you want to call them that. My descendants come from Poland. My grandparents, my mother's side, were actually in the Holocaust. So they were, my grandfather was in Auschwitz, my grandmother was in a prison camp in Germany. So back in the 40s, they survived a very tough existence. I could go into detail about the story, but I know we haven't much time. But the essential part is they were among the first Polish to come to Ireland in the early 1950s, and they made a life for themselves. So that for me is very inspirational. And in 2013 I actually went to Krakow. I went to see Auschwitz because I wanted to see where my grandfather was. And it was a big moment for me in my life because it made me realise that for all the negative things I might see in my life, they're very, very small in comparison to what they went through. So any kind of upsets I have or any kind of disappointments, they don't last very long, because for a few moments I just think I was there like for a few years and I snap out. So for them they're very motivational. My next one would be my grandfather on my father's side, and he was very influential for me from my teenage years and my early adult life, and he still is. He'd be a big hero of mine because he had his own business and he supported his family for many years, and I learned a lot of good disciplines off him when I was a teenager and a young man. And even now I still look up to him so much, and he motivated me when I was at an age I needed to be motivated. And finally, one more. Actually, this might be a surprise. It's one of my staff.
Okay, go ahead. That's it.
She's from Romania, and she's only recently started working for us. And what I've seen in the last year is nothing short of incredible. This is a lady who has been in Ireland for many years, but she had a dream of becoming a trainer. And because she had commitments to her family and her young son, she put her own dreams on hold. And we sat down and talked last year, and I asked her would she ever consider chasing her dream and trying to become a trainer. She was on a retreat with us in Portugal at the time, and she decided that yes, she wanted to try it. So what we did was we sat down, we worked out a plan. She had to go back to college, she had to come in here for work experience, she was going to mentor with me. And over the last few months, what she's done is nothing short of inspirational. She's become a full-time trainer in SBG.
Oh, that's great.
So she's left her old job working as a waitress, and now she's actually one of probably the strongest coaches I've seen in many years. And that for me is a truly inspirational story when you see it in someone who you work with every day, you know?
Yeah, I kind of relate to that, and the reason is, so from what I just learned from you is like, you have people that show a different perspective. So when you went to Auschwitz and you kind of realize, oh, these days we worry so much with what we don't have, and we don't realize what we have in life. And the way was to have someone in your life that you can aspire, you know, that was your motivation. And also like looking for people that are around you and see the people, oh, actually they are people that are being warriors in life.
Yes.
And you kind of feel, oh, if the other ones can do it, we also can do it. Okay, so, and this is the successful stories. And after there is the other stories, that the things we learn from.
Yes.
So what things you learned from this journey of the last few years?
Well, the thing is, the journey to get to where we've got to has been a lot of endurance and perseverance. Most people, when they see you do what you're doing right now, they think that, oh, it's all been good and everything has been perfect. The truth is, it's very much a strange journey where you have very nice successes and some terrible failures. You know, but for me, failure is not a word that I use very often, because I believe you should try and attempt everything and see what the outcome is. And if it's not a positive one, learn from it and move on. You know, I think what happens nowadays is people, they see something go against them and they tend to maybe stop, or they get very demotivated, when in fact they should use the positive message they get from it and add to their education. So for me, a 10-year journey so far, and it is so far because there's many more years to go. What I hope to share with people is that even though things went against me, there was issues in other gyms where I had difficulties with contracts, or there was times I started my business when the recession kicked in Ireland, so that was 2007.
Yeah.
And actually, the time of this is quite interesting because last weekend was my 9th anniversary of my business. So it's just the way things have worked out. But 9 years ago, I would never have believed I'd be sitting here talking to you about a story that I would have created.
Yeah.
You know, where I started from, I was in a gym trying to train a few people and hoping that I'd get a bit of business, to now where I work in SBG, where I train people like Paddy and Ash and work with John. And as I said, there's amazing athletes in here, but also the fact that I have amazing coaches working with me, and every day is just, it's a really big education for me personally. You know, I never believe I'll stop learning. You know, there's many people here who inspire me in terms of their abilities, because for me, I'm here to serve people, and I always meet people with much more ability and potential than I have. But what I don't see is them all maximising it, whereas I try and maximise what I have.
And you've been doing a great job, I can see. It's a piece of advice, like a gift for the person that is at home and sit on the couch, or is on the office sitting all day, or to the young man that enters here on the gym and wants to be on mixed martial arts. What will be that advice?
The advice I'd give them would be to try and find a person at the standard or level that they wish to get to. And if it's a very high standard, that's even better. Ideally, you would find someone who will motivate you to try and reach that standard. So my advice would be to try and meet up with them, buy a coffee, pay for their time if you have to. Whatever it is, you identify that person. You know, for some people, it's they might see a black belt and go, I want to be a black belt. Well, if they want to be a black belt, get talking to a black belt. A brown belt's not going to get you there, a purple belt, and so on. For me, as I said, my mentor is Owen Lacey, who's in the ISI. He was a very strong mentor for me because I met him a few years ago, and I went and paid for his time. I wanted to sit down and talk with him. He thought I was coming for a training session. And I was like, Owen, I have a notepad, I have a pen, I'm going to ask questions here. And he's looking at me, okay. And I think he was a bit shocked, and one of my questions was, how do I get to your level? And he looked at me, and you want to be at my level? I said, one day. I'm aiming high, and that's me literally, after seeing someone like you at the standard you're at, that's what I want to reach for. So he sat down, he spent a couple of hours of time with me, and we went through many things. But it inspired me to get up and start doing what I do to get me to this level where I am now. You know, and for any young person, I fully recommend it. I've given a seminar last year in Scotland, and I sat down with people and I gave them the same words of advice. Whoever's at the level you want, go meet them. And 2 or 3 of them did, and now they're pushing to that level. You know, which is great to hear back.
I can relate to that. Like we had a talk just before we started the interview, and what I was saying was, last year I was trying to do things with people that, or 2 years ago with people that did the courses with me, and now I kind of decide, no, I'm doing with everyone that is at a higher level. Even if I'm thinking that I'm a good level, it's the only way to push you. And with all this journey that you just went through in the last few minutes, how you feel at the moment in the present? How you see your present now with all these decisions? How transforming the mind, transform your body, transforming the mind, and what happened?
Right now, I feel in a good place. It's took many years to get to that place, and there's been difficult roads. And whenever I talk with people who are starting on a journey, I explain to them that pick where you want to go, but you've always got to work towards that. Every day you're getting that bit closer to it, you know. But the thing is, your road can change. Things that you might think you want now, 6 months' time, it could be something different. You know, my goal was to become the best trainer or coach I could, get to the maximum of my level. You know, I don't believe I've reached that yet. You know, and for anyone who's watching this and trying to take anything from it, they should be looking at, where do I want to go? And that's your starting point, and work back to where you are now. And every day should be getting closer to that goal. You know, and when they reach that goal, they'll probably find that, well, I've covered that distance, I can go a bit further. You know, So if you're asking me where I feel I am now, I feel I'm in a good place, but my demands of myself is to get better.
Okay, that's good, that's good. So we are kind of finished up. This is the first Be Aware podcast. We'll have a few more.